these three players are too good, or at least we thought that they were too good,
they are
to
too
let
good.
this happen. You should not be getting handled like this by the Minnesota Timberwolves. You should not.
Hank McCoy.
It's official. The Suns are now down 3-0 to the Timberwolves in the series, losing tonight 126-109. Espo, what are those stats again about a team going down 3-0?
Yeah, it's a big 0% chance of coming back. It's never been done in NBA history. And look, I'd love to sit here and yell and rant and tell you that there's something that you should feel about this team, but they have shown you that there is no reason to feel anything when it comes to them. They have not earned our anger. They have not earned the right to have us despise them. You know what? They have been a massive disappointment all year, and tonight was just another example of them not showing the effort, the heart, the hustle. The fans came out. The fans sounded great in the first two quarters, and the team rewarded them with another piss-poor showing. And fans deserve better in this town. Fans deserve better from the coaching staff, from the front office, from the players. The fans deserve better than what we saw a majority of this season, but in particular tonight. We are on a collision course with another disappointing, gut-wrenching, just awful embarrassment in the playoffs for the third straight year, and we were sold a vision of this not happening anymore. And guess what? We're on the doorstep yet again, and it's time for massive changes.
I mean, I agree with most of what you said. I don't think this is gut-wrenching end to the season, because if you've watched this team play all year, you kind of expected that this could happen at some point. And, you know, especially the first couple games of the series, it did not look good. And it looked like Minnesota had figured something out, which they clearly had. And, you know, it's just another microcosm of the inconsistency that this team has shown all season long. The ups, the downs, the ups and downs. And unfortunately for the Suns, this is definitely a downward swing, and it's a steep downward swing. It's probably a downward swing you're never going to be able to recover from, because no team in NBA history has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. And this team has just been – it's been befuddling, it's been confusing, and it's not just about the play of the players. It's also been about the rotations, it's been about the choices and strategy, it's been the effort, it's been everything from top to bottom. And it's just been really unfortunate, because, you know, the thing that I inside my soul, I felt like, I get that these guys needed time to play together, but I always felt like that was a little bit of a cop-out to some degree, because we've seen other teams come together and play at a high level after like the first 20 games that they played together. But it took this team like 40 games to play together, and they still don't have it. They still don't know what each other's supposed to do. And I'm looking basically at the big three, because all three of them are really the main ones to blame, because you can't put the blame on anybody else. When the big three don't show up to play at a high level, you're probably going to lose a lot of games. And for a majority of the series, outside of basically Kevin Durant, scoring-wise, this team didn't show up. And Bradley Beal did whatever he needed to do in this fourth quarter, but that was too little too late. And it's just, listen, man, Phoenix Suns fans deserve so much better than the shit that they've been handed time after time after time again, man.
I don't ever want to hear the term big three again. This is a shrinking three.
It's definitely not big
the
three.
moment when the moment gets the lights get brightest, the moment gets the biggest. These three have basically shrunk in every way, shape, and form. And it's weird, because Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, they've all had individual moments where things are tough, things are bright, and they've performed. But together, these three don't work. The shrinking three, it does not work. And I don't care who the coach is, they don't seem to be able to perform together as a group.
I think after today's game or tonight's game, you can say without a doubt that there is something going on behind the scenes that is not working. I don't even know what it is exactly, but I think to your point about, you know, having had so much time throughout the season, like I know it was less than ideal as far as having to deal with the injuries and the amount of games the big three got to play together. but they're all so individually talented that the only reason why it doesn't work, in my opinion, is they're not on the same page in some capacity. And like we talked about it in the pregame show, when you look at what Devin said postgame after game 2 about communication, what Frank Vogel said about them all, this their first time being collectively together in a playoff environment, and then KD saying that's not a factor, and KD not thinking that communication was really the issue. There's a disconnect somewhere with probably more than just the 3 guys that I just named, probably a lot of players on this team and probably a lot of coaches as well. And that's what I don't think they've been able to overcome.
Yeah.
Because if they had been able to overcome whatever the disconnect is, I think they would have obviously played better, had better chemistry, had better connection. Everything would have been better. But there's something behind the scenes that was not connected that I think was the Achilles heel here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with anything. I'll say this, man. I've been around teams before, but usually at the college level, where things just are not. They have all the talent, but they are just not lining up. And you find out after the season that something awful was going on behind the scenes, and you can see why the guys were not connected. And I'm not saying that anything awful is happening behind the scenes, but they're definitely disconnected. And it feels like they're disconnected both off and on the court. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what to point to. I don't have any specific facts or information to share. It's just, listen, man, when things are awry, there's got to be some other reasoning behind it, because these 3 players are too good, or at least we thought that they were too good.
They are
to
too
let
good.
this happen. You should not be getting handled like this by the Minnesota Timberwolves. You should not.